Hey guys, welcome to another episode.
Hello, hello, hello. I hope everyone's doing well and everyone's safe and healthy and just getting through these days.
Yes, definitely. All the prayers out to those, your loved ones, and again, we get through 2021 and beyond. So tonight we have a special guest, a gentleman who's been a pioneer in this industry. Basically, he started his career in 2008 when he was in Colorado when the legalization happened there. And he was originally from Florida and was looking forward to getting back to Florida and getting started in the industry. His name is Arby Barroso, if I'm pronounce it correctly.
You hit it right on the nose.
Ah.
So all good. That was actually really, really good.
Thank you. So in 2013, he recruited his lifelong friend, Miss Laura Fuentes, a licensed compounding pharmacist, to start Green Roads, which became the leading privately owned CBD company in the U.S. with multiple awards to its name. Recognizing as a public education, Arby launched Cannabis Life Radio in 2016. And now in 2019, he became the founding member of the Florida Hemp Council. Welcome, Arby. How are you?
Pretty good. How you guys doing?
Great, great, great.
Oh, I was just gonna say, you guys are warm and happy down there in Florida.
I know.
Listen, I know we were talking a little earlier. I do not envy you guys at all. So we're all good. You know, it's nicely 75 degrees over here.
Perfect weather.
About 10 mile an hour wind. So yeah, I definitely wouldn't be taking a trip to you guys anytime soon.
We're getting jealous. I'm about to send you some snow.
I know.
It's probably not halfway here, so we're all good. It'll probably just be a cup of water at that time.
Yeah, right? So, again, thank you for joining us.
So, Arby, we really wanted you to be on the show with us. And you have impacted us, our lives. I don't think you know. So before you were a guest here. Have you heard of our story before?
Actually, I have not.
Okay.
And I apologize about that.
Don't worry.
We talked a little bit prior, but I'd love to hear a little bit more about it.
Okay, great. So believe it or not, you are really part of our story. Our son started using Green Road CBD oil as one of his first CBD oils he used for his seizures, and he had some good results.
Yeah, some really definitely good results.
Definitely really good results on your oil. And we were getting your oil from a friend of Osiris's who was, I guess, a distributor at that time. Like he did like...
He's a brand ambassador.
Yeah, wholesale. And he ran out of the oil. And we were out of the oil. So we were like...
Panic mode.
Basically panic mode. And all families know this. This is, this is something you use for serious condition. So when you run out, you go in panic mode. So I said, okay, let me go to the website. Maybe we could find a store in New York. Since it's New York City, we got to find someone who's selling the oil.
Yeah, mind you, it's just early on in New York where they just passed the medical marijuana program. So we do have a card for his son, but the dispensaries were not really in any position to be able to treat pediatric issues.
Yeah, a lot of the oil had alcohol in it,
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, exactly. So we were on your oil, and so then I ended up calling the company, and it was a Saturday, and a young lady of Ivy Gonzalez picked up.
Awesome young lady. Awesome.
Okay.
And
yeah, I know Ivy.
Yeah, so we were like... So we really connected because she was from New York as well, and she transplanted to Florida. We connected. She told me where I can get the oil in New York, and I also told her our story about our son, who was having at that prior to CBD oil about 100 seizures a day. Kind of regressed in his skills in terms of speech and language. So she was impressed with our story, and then she said we do have a scholarship program. And at that time, Osiris had lost his job, and we really couldn't afford the oil. We really couldn't. It was like, not pay this, to pay for the oil. So she said, but I didn't let her know that. But she was like, we do scholarships. And make a long story short, we ended up getting a scholarship, and you and Ivy supported us, and without questions asked, through a system and gave us oil, and we will ever appreciate you and Ivy for everything you've done for us, and particularly at a time where we couldn't really afford it. And that's why we're so grateful to have you on the show, and like you were definitely part of our journey.
So yes, so
Wow.
thank you.
No, that's pretty damn cool.
Yeah. So basically, we came full circle throughout the show because, again, like we said, it's about our journey. So we wanted to connect with everyone who had a part in this because we couldn't have done it.
So,
Well, that's honestly, my eyes get a little watery, to be honest with you, because I could hear the emotion in you guys' voice, and it was part of our journey and what we wanted to do because we understood, the families were going through, hard times. I mean, it's hard to have, a child that needs the parents' attentions or just kind of in any situation, really. But, I'm glad we were able to help you guys out and make a difference, because that's really what this industry is about, is making a difference and really unifying what this plant could actually do for people.
yeah, definitely. And then I know with the pre-interview, we spoke about Jennifer, and then Ivy then connected me with Jennifer. And, I never met her personally, but I felt so connected to. You go on. I want you to go talk about the EJ Foundation, of course. But I didn't. We did connect and talk over the phone, and I felt very connected to her. Very connected to her. Yeah.
Oh, so you had spoken to Jennifer?
Yes.
Yeah, we actually talked to her a couple of times.
We connected. When he passed, I sent her something in the mail. Because when you have a child, when you have parents connect, because we get each other. You get what I'm saying,
Yeah.
Arby? So we both had boys, similar age. So we knew the struggle, and so we connected right away.
Yeah, and we thank Ivy for everything because she was always available, weekends, weeknights, just constantly be able to text her and just tell, hey, look, we're in a need, and she responded quickly. I got you guys. Hey, and she would follow up. Did you guys get it? And just to make sure we were okay, and we really appreciate that.
Yeah, that is. Our customer service. Everybody in our Green Road family has. We've had people work for us for 5 years. Our customer service. Everybody's been with us for over 2, and I think everybody, tries to go over and beyond. Like, we don't outsource anything. We kind of keep everything in house. So a lot of our people really, really get personally involved with families because they're kind of walking them through situations. And I'm so happy that Jennifer was able to share her story because there's made such a huge impact on our business and our life. Really, they'd come over and hang out with us, and we would go to the park and film, and EJ would be jumping around all over the place, and it was just so cool to kind of watch, the progression. And obviously it hurt a lot as he got worse, towards the end. But we were blessed to have him in our lives and really just kind of show us the importance of what we were doing, just not selling a product to a smoke shop or it was really about, people, touching lives. And I've seen a lot of that, and it's really emotional to this day. You guys sharing your story, I had to kind of take a pause back because it definitely hits you because it's just so important to be able to do something like that for a family like you guys. So I'm glad we were able to come through and help you guys out.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. Can you tell the listeners some more about the foundation, the EJ Foundation?
Yeah, we were starting the EJ Foundation. It never really caught traction, but what we did do is we kind of used that for knowing that we needed to support families because he kind of showed us, the importance of doing that. So between Joe DiMaggio's Children's Hospital, Jennifer, her grandmother, her mom actually, EJ's grandmother, that really kind of just put the word out there. And I think we were talking about earlier about you having a product possibly in New York that had alcohol, or you never, back then you really didn't know because a lot of people weren't testing full panel. And I think that's one of the challenges in our space is I think some people really try to do good with products that they're trying to make. for family or for friends or for people that may have an illness, and they don't recognize that they should be testing their products completely. And I say that only because I know at one point in time we knew a family that was giving their family members a product, and just by looking at it, I didn't like the way it looked, and we actually sent it in for testing, and there was heavy metals and other, solvents and issues with that product, and they were passing that on to their loved ones for months before they recognized that it just wasn't doing them actually good. It was actually hurting them more than doing good. So, the EJ Foundation was kind of just hoping and trying to support these families. And I think we've never really done it completely justice in reference to actually completing that foundation and creating a almost like what you guys are doing now, which is a podcast education. Yeah. Talking to doctors, talking about yourselves, talking about relationships, on how, marriages or couples, what they go through when they have these challenges with one of their child. And I think that's truly important for you to share, because you could see Jennifer had the connection with you guys and probably spoke to you about a lot that what she was doing for EJ.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So again, I mean, what he's been able to do, EJ's not here today. I'm pretty sure he's looking down with a big smile because he always had one. Yeah. And he was always so exuberant with energy and so awesome. Having that and you guys having those conversations, I'm sure gave you some sort of direction and comfort on, what she was doing and how the product was working for EJ.
Yes, and it motivated us too as well. I saw some videos of him, and I'm like, oh my God, this kid's going. He was adorable. I'm like, oh, and so
he was huge, man. He was a football player, middle linebacker, that other kid.
Oh man! And the funny thing is, our son's growing to becoming one as well. I think more of an offensive lineman. I'm scared. But I mean, the difference is, just something as small as a scholarship means so much, especially when you have your back against the wall as a parent, and it's only one income, and you need this thing, this plant to help your child, because you've seen the results. That there's opportunity for that child to develop from it, and it's like, you freak out, you panic. It's like, okay, what do we do? What's our next move? It's like, okay, where are we gonna get? It's like, do we pay a bill? Do we, we actually go food shopping? Do we, we have to make this hardcore decision. It's like really scary.
No, and it wasn't very inexpensive product back then.
Yeah.
So again, I think us being able to do what we did is important. We still do it till today. And I think it's extremely important to kind of support the family, because you're right. I mean, $100 goes a long way. Is it food? Is it a medical bill? Is it your light bill? Is it your phone?
Yeah.
Like, what are the other necessities that you need that you don't really have to worry about providing a product for a loved one and have to worry about spending that $100 or possibly $200, depending on what the dosages are.
Yeah, how much they take. Yeah.
Because I remember Jennifer would come in and they'd take, 4 bottles of $1,500.
Yeah,
those bottles back then were $170, $180.
Yes. And the thing is, some kids need a lot.
Yeah, no, and we completely knew that it was like, it's not a typical, and we're not doctors, but we can't recommend dosages. Yeah. So that was really up to Lynn Meister and Joe D. But, I know she was giving them probably 200, 300 milligrams a day.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. Aiden was on that much at one point, especially in the beginning. I mean, so yeah, definitely.
And the learning curve too wasn't there as well. Oh, you're just trying to figure out like, okay, I gotta get a little drop, but you can become antsy as a parent. You become antsy. It's like, I'm waiting for a result. I'm waiting, like you're waiting for that, that point where you get to see, the corner is turned, because you can see the child's making some type of change that they didn't have before. They're staring at you. They made eye contact, or they made a certain movement that they normally don't do. So you're like, okay, we're on the track. So now you want to give more. And they start giving more, and it's just cat and mouse game.
That gets complicated.
Yeah.
I always told Jennifer to write in the diary.
Yes.
Like we've always told family members, write in a diary. You're not going to see a quick result.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
And there's obviously not enough studies out there, and all this thing is going in the direction it's going. But as a parent in your home, we've always said, write in a diary. Know at what time daily, so you have that constant. If it's 9 a.m., it's 9 a.m. If it's 9 and 12, 9 and 12, 12, 4, 12, 4. So kind of have that pattern, so you kind of see the results as that time goes on, instead of just dosing, at every minute of the day.
Yeah.
So, I mean, things have worked differently for different families, but, it's just tough. I can't even, honestly, I can't imagine. So God bless you guys for doing what you're doing, and I'm so happy we were able to help whichever way we could.
No, we appreciate that you had created that program so early on. Like, you had the foresight to do that early on, because I don't think too many other brands were doing that, and it really helped us greatly. I mean, it bought us some time in trying to figure things out, and it was helping him. I mean, it brought some happiness to us, basically, in the sense that, oh my God, we're watching him. He's actually eating. He's actually able to, stand without having a seizure and falling. Because when you mentioned helmet in the beginning, I'm like, oh my God, I remember my son wore a helmet for about a year, 2 years. He had to have a helmet because he would have these drop seizures, and they were
vicious.
Oh, they were vicious. They traumatized us, literally traumatized us, because we think about it every day. We just watch him stand. It's like, okay, is he gonna fall now? Because it would happen unexpectedly.
Yeah, unexpectedly.
Yeah, so now he's taking a shower by himself, and I'm sitting up, and I don't even have to think about it anymore. I'm like, oh,
wow,
no more of that thud sound that we used to get. So it's amazing how this industry has grown in such a short period of time, and how much of a profound effect it has. And so we thank you for taking a chance, taking a leap of faith, and jumping in and doing what you're doing.
I appreciate that. I mean, I think our team is pretty solid on that was part of it. I mean, we saw other companies in the beginning of the space that we didn't like what they were doing, and I won't mention any names, but you don't make families wait for a product or anything like that when you have access to something that you think may help, or the family thinks it may help them. I think that's just not cool. Like, we've never really put ourselves out there and said, run articles or, made or profited out of somebody else's sickness. I mean, I think we've given back as much as we could. I think there's always opportunities to give back more.
Yeah.
But I think we've done a pretty decent job. And I think other companies, there was another company that didn't do that. And that's something that I frowned upon when we were starting our company. And I didn't want to have somebody frown upon us. So, Laura, myself, and the team, pretty much tried to do whatever we could, even when it was very expensive. Because the fact is that people look at the product today and realize that raw material is $300 to $1,000 tops.
Wow.
When we started in this business, it was $45,000 for 1,000 milligrams.
Oh,
1,000 grams. Sorry, 1,000 grams for a kilo. So you're talking $45,000 for 1 kilo, and it stayed in the $30,000s for over a year.
Oh my God!
So you're talking 2014, it was $45,000. 2015 was somewhere around the mid 30s to high 30s.
Yeah.
Then you get towards the end of the year, and you're hoping that you're getting in the low 30s. And 17 was still in the 20s.
Yeah.
So I mean, people don't recognize that it wasn't cost efficient for us to give out the type of product that we were giving out. But I think we gave away probably close to $1 million every year.
Wow.
And products. I know for a fact we did that in 2017. Probably even more than that. Because just with EJ by itself, you were talking about probably about 4 bottles, somewhere around, 3,000 to 4,500 milligrams a month. So you're talking about once you get to, a year. So we, again, it was just, you couldn't charge somebody or have somebody come by the office that had a sick child and say, oh, you owe me $200 or $150.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, you don't have the money. I'm not going to give you the product.
Yeah,
that's pretty heartless in my mind. So, I never wanted to feel that, I never wanted to feel bad about it.
And we appreciate that because it greatly benefited us. It bought us some time, so we were able actually to pay it. And so, again, like I said, it's come full circle for us to pay it forward by educating people, putting the information out there, and speaking to, to people like yourself, the ones who've made this decision to offer scholarships, like get to hear the reasons why they do what they do. So, because I know there's everybody and their uncle has a brand now. Everybody's selling CBD oil. So,
Oh, yeah.
so it's like, well, who do you trust? And, for us, it's like we're only going to recommend the brands that we've trusted, we spoke to. I mean, I have to honestly say we've spoken more to the companies that we've worked with than we do with some of our doctors.
That's awesome. But you
guys
guys
respond.
know the space now. I mean, you're obviously extremely educated in the space.
Oh, yeah.
You guys have done your research, and that's one of the things that even till today, what we do is we educate a lot of the new up and coming companies.
Yeah.
Like, hey, what do your label requirements should look like? Make sure you're testing with an independent, ISO 17025 lab. Make sure you have QR codes in your bottle.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
All these things that people don't understand. You go to a place and you go buy a bottle, it doesn't have a QR code. You go to their website, it has a raw material COA on it, which means nothing because it doesn't tell you the final batch number or, your final finish, full panel testing. And now you don't know. And you typically started in this business or buying this product because you're either giving it to somebody or you're helping a family member or something similar to that. Because us as personal, as human beings, we take anything. We'll be like, I'll take it.
Yeah.
But when you're giving something to somebody else, you kind of research the product a little more, and you got to give it to a loved one. So you should do your due diligence on products.
Okay.
There's good companies out there. There's really good companies out there that are doing the right thing, but there's a lot of bad ones.
Yeah, we've come across that because I worked actually in the industry in trade shows because I think I think at one point we almost met each other. I think it's either in New York or L.A. The Cannabis World Congress about a year or 2 years ago, pre-COVID. And there I got really educated about, having worked in the industry, I really got to know the companies. I got to know where they farm their products, how they do it, what they're processing. For anybody, I would recommend doing a trade show, whether you're just, a consumer, whether you're in the industry or just, you learn a lot when you get to speak to people face to face about who, what, where, and what they do.
Oh, yeah.
So that was benefit of doing that job for a while. Now, for you guys, what is your next goal? Like, what is, what's coming down the pike for you guys?
For us, it's just continuing to legislate in the space. We're doing that now. We launched our OTC line, which now we're CGMP. We make all our products from scratch. We make 80% of our products. We still don't make our edibles.
Mm-hmm.
But we've been working with the same edible company now for about 3 years. We're now launching, our first sleep line. We're going to have different supplements in our products, sunflower, vitamins, just different types of daily doses that, if you take your Centrum or your probiotics, we're going to make products that have that. We feel that, CBD or cannabinoid products or similar to that, just CBD itself, should be a nutrition that you take every day. Like
Health and wellness.
In our endocannabinoid system. If you're having a deficiency, typically when you have that, you get sicker easily. Just a lot of things happen when you're out of sync.
Yeah.
And we feel that this product in this plant, in this side of the space, the cannabis is a little different, but I feel that in this side of the space, having a full cannabinoid profile with different types of supplements and vitamins and things like that is the next step for us, I think.
Okay.
I think that is really being the Centrum, the probiotics of your daily use, your daily uses when you leave the house, should be something that you shouldn't have to think about it. It should be on something that you take where you don't have to take it separately, or you have that mixture of, I got all my vitamins in today, plus I got a cannabinoid. So I think that's really the direction that our company's going. The OTC certificate for us, or getting certified OTC, was big because now we could actually add certain focused items to what people are looking for, whether it's pain, whether it's sleep, whether it's immune boosters, things like that, where we could kind of specify why somebody's looking for a product when you couldn't really do that before.
Yeah.
And again, it's really going to be CBD or cannabinoid is going to be an ingredient, but really we're going to focus on what that delivery system, whether it's an immune booster or a pain, something for pain on a topical style product, we'll be able to focus on certain things to call it pain and use the cannabinoids as an ingredient, but now people know what they're using it for, which I think is still missing in the space.
Can you tell the listeners about the legislation in the laws of CBD in Florida? Just to give I know things are changing. I know it was very different in New York in terms of Florida in the CBD space and when it first came out.
Yeah, I mean, for us, that was one of the main reasons. Once I left Colorado, we kind of knew when we were building our business that we couldn't allow the legislators or the powers that be, eliminate this business by a stroke of a pen. We've seen, what the government can do, good, bad, or indifferent, in reference to a stroke of a pen. No matter, again, we're bipartisan. We deal with, Republicans, we deal with Democrats, we deal with libertarians, or, whatever you want to deal with, as long as the agenda is driven and we get to a solution for the industry, that's really what matters. So for us, it was passing the pilot program in 2017, which now allowed us to at least start growing a hemp plant here in the state of Florida. We brought mother plants from Colorado at that point through FDACs. We actually had to notify all law enforcement from Colorado to Florida from an 18-wheeler that had just about 50 or 60 mother plants in there, which is kind of funny. It was like if we were, transporting, a couple tons of cannabis, which was kind of ridiculous. But it was what it was, and we were, now we're here today. But having that and then kind of having that opportunity to work with the University of Florida, wow. Giving them approximately $1 million for research to kind of see what seeds are going to work here in this, 3-climate state. And it is 3 climates for us. I mean, Northern Florida is different than, South Florida than the Homestead area. But what we wanted to do is once we had that opportunity with the university, we went and lobbied for a bill that was called the SB 1020. That was important. It was an election year. We had Nikki Fried, that was sitting actually on my medical marijuana advisory board. So I'm the chairman of that. That advised the county on what directions they should take in the space. I had actually the pleasure to have Nikki Fried sit next to me, and we had a great relationship. She actually announced her running for that seat in Cannabis Life Radio, if I'm not mistaken, in 2017 and beginning of 2018. And she was the right candidate for us. So again, she's a Democrat, highest ranking Democrat in the state. She was going up against a gentleman called Caldwell. Great person, amazing, from mid-Florida. But we felt that we needed to kind of back Nikki Fried. She understood the space. I think she's good for the ad community in the state of Florida, and she ended up winning that seat. So that makes her now the highest ranking Democrat for Florida, and understood the space that needed to move forward. So while we were drawing up the bill, we actually took a lot from Indiana Act 52, which is the first state to actually put QR codes for products. I think we were the first company ever to have QR codes with independent lab tests from a third party on our products. And that law passed in middle of 2018. July 1st, it was signed into law in Indiana. So we grabbed some of that and actually created the bill called SB 1020, which helped regulate labeling requirements, testing requirements, QR codes, independent labs from the 17025. You couldn't own the laboratory if you're in the cannabis or hemp industry. And then that bill also led to pass the way for farmers to be able to grow in the state of Florida, which today is huge because I think Florida's doing an amazing job in growing hemp. I think we'll definitely be one of the leaders in the country. I think they're extremely advanced. I think we've learned a lot from other states and the mistakes that they've made in the space. And those are the best teachers. I mean, what these other states were able to do once Obama passed, that bill in 2014, we learned a lot. And I definitely congratulate a lot of those states that took that first leap, because now other states are learning from their mistakes, and we're just getting better at what we do. So, and then we actually had to make another bill called the HB 921, which was a glitch bill that we needed to fix some of the things that we messed up in the SB 1020, which meant that, let's say, Southeast Grocers or one of these, food markets, or Whole Foods, let's say, couldn't sell hemp bars or couldn't sell hemp seed oil because they would have to get it tested full panel to be able to sell the products on the shelf.
Oh.
It had no CBD in it.
Yeah, it's not the same.
They weren't too happy about that, to be honest.
It's expensive.
So yeah, we kind of overlooked a couple things, but we did make up for it the following year. That law, the HB 921, was just signed in this year. 2020, summer of 2020. So we fixed that, and now we're in 802 public stores. So I think they weren't too happy, but now they're pretty happy. So I mean, we've been blessed to be able to get some of those 3 bills in 3 years.
That's huge.
Typically, it only takes, when you submit a bill, only 6% of those bills ever pass. And we were lucky and blessed enough to have a great team of partners in the space help lobby for those bills, and ended up getting 3 bills passed in 3 years. So I think we've done a great job. I think our ad commissioner has done an amazing job, Nikki Freed. That would be an amazing interview for you guys if you have the opportunity, her or Holly Bell. Which really is almost like her, czar, besides Nikki, our commissioner. So I've seen a lot of other states kind of pick up that legislation. Texas has the HB 1325, almost follows identical to Florida guidelines. They have a little bit of a different twist to it, but QR codes, full panel testing on products, GMP. Has to be a GMP facility. So those are things that now the industry's catching up to. I think actually your state has a law called 7860, if I'm not mistaken, that also is asking for QR codes on those labels. So now it's just up to the FDA to kind of, put their footprint on it and sign off on something that the industry could be proud of and really set the pace for some type of blueprint that the industry could thrive off.
That would be wonderful.
When you mentioned the FDA, okay, I'll keep my comment. But
we could talk a long time about that. I can tell you that right now. But listen, I can tell you right now, they do have a bill right now that is bipartisan.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's interesting.
So there's a bipartisan bill right now that is looking to pass CBD as a supplement.
I did hear that.
841.
I did read about that.
They are trying to pass something, which we didn't think it would be supplement. So I'll back up a little bit. We were in front of the FDA last February, and Kelly Dyer. Casimir was there, Canopy was there, Growth was, Crows was there, Nestle from Garden of Life. All these companies were there, and we kind of had the opportunity to kind of just say our piece and kind of figure out what's the next direction. Then obviously COVID hit. Then we had the opportunity to have a Zoom call with them on July 23rd. They had submitted a guidance package that nobody really knew what was in it, but we did write up 5-opinion, 3-page letter, submitted it to them to tell them, hey, we feel that if you guys come out with something, you typically chill the market, people freak out, and nothing ever gets done. So these are the 5 opinions that we feel that you should hold on to. If you take 3 of them, great, but at least have these 5 in front of you. Then we had the opportunity to talk to OMB on the 30th of July. About 50 companies on that call, Q&A real quick for about 45 minutes. Then when the change of the administration happened, Biden, President Biden, pulled that guidance package that was there. Now, we have been working all together for about a year, figuring out where this is going to go. So we obviously were a little disappointed. But right after that, I think February 7th, right after he pulled it, there's bipartisan support for a bill that's the HR 841. Will it go anywhere? Don't know. Will it? We're hoping that it does, and it comes out as a supplement, because I never thought it would come out within a year and a half. Where they would kind of make that ruling as a supplement. But we'll take it, because at that point in time, the industry now has a path to success, where people that are going to buy a product know that that product has a requirement prior to getting to a consumer.
Absolutely.
And I think the consumer protection is probably the biggest hurdle that this industry is facing today, because a lot of people don't trust the products, or they've taken the product and nothing happens, or they see a news report, like they did on NBC investigative report, where 8 out of the 10 products didn't have what they said it has in it. So once you kind of correct that, the people that are loyal CBD users, we know what they are. What we need to do is educate the ones that either tried it or never come back to it because they had a bad experience. So to drive that industry forward, we need that kind of guidance. And hopefully now they'll get off the, and pass this bill, so we kind of move on and continue to create a good market for consumers.
That's awesome. And I think we're playing a role in that, because eventually once we launch, we'll make an announcement that we're going to be launching a podcast website, and we're going to have selected brands. We're looking for our brands that we worked with and that we've used and we know and trust, that we will be looking to partner up with, because it's hard. It's, as parents, when we first started, it was like, where do we go? What do we do? Who do we speak? In fact, even the doctors who were recommending, the scripts for us to be able to get a card,
They didn't tell us what to do.
They had no clue. It was just an extra $300-$400 for them. They had no clue what they're doing, some of these doctors. It was like, oh my God. So you could imagine the whirlwind and how much research we had to do. And when you're trying to take care of a child, you're doing the research. So it's like we had to split up the duties. Like, hey, Nina, you look up CBD companies. I'll look into basically foods, medicine, other things that, we can help our son. So it's like we went back to school, the both of us.
Yeah, because there's so many companies
and you guys
out
have
now.
probably run circles around a lot of the doctors that recommend it today. I've seen doctors recommend products that have no idea.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's tough. It's a tough space now, and especially with so many companies out there.
Yeah.
People will come to me knowing that our son uses it, and for me, it's hard for me to say, okay, just use this product. I want them to have like a list for them to make their own educated decision.
Like we did.
Yeah.
Because it's not a one-size-fits-all. That's one thing we learned. It's not a one-size-fits-all. You're going to have to go through the gambit and figure it out. But at least you have a starting space. For us, I think what helped us is that we didn't wait that long after our son was diagnosed, because we already had a little bit of an education. And so we was like, okay, it didn't wait a year, 2 years, 3 years like some parents do. It took us like, a month to make that decision, say, we're going to use it after he got diagnosed. And we're like, okay, it was just a matter now figuring it out. So we went through the pains of figuring what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah, no, that is, I can't even imagine as the family kind of making that decision. It's got to be a tough decision, but you're right though. You have to give the parents a choice, because and not one pill or one product fits all. I mean, our product might work for a lot of people and it might not work for some people. This is not what I say. It's not a miracle drug or a miracle plant. It's an access to a better life and an alternative to certain decisions that you may make.
Agreed.
But I mean, I always tell people, even when I have these type of interviews or speak to them, I'm like, listen, there's other good companies out there. What I recommend for anybody that's going to buy a product, do your research.
Exactly.
Look at their websites. Find out who's making the product. Is it a white label? There's a lot of companies out there. There's a couple pretty big companies out there that don't even make their product.
Yes.
They don't have a finger on the pulse of how that product's being made.
Yep.
They go ahead and test it. Yeah, let me go get it tested. It's got a COA. Great. but they have no understanding of how that product's being made. You know, are they putting just olive oil and isolate? Are they compounding it? Do they have a batch number? I mean, there's just so many different avenues that you need to look at, especially in those type of situations. So I think it's so important because there is other good companies out there. There is good people that are doing good products out there. But I always recommend telling people, listen, go to the website. If it doesn't have a QR code, don't buy it. Mm-hmm. You know, and if it has a QR code that has a raw material lab sheet, don't buy it. You know, if it's not an independent laboratory, don't buy it.
Now, Arby, can you
there's so many check marks that I would tell you guys to have. You know, you could tell really quick if a product is good or it's made the right way. And that if it doesn't have the QR code in full panel, that's your first mistake. You know, and then at that point in time, read if it's hemp extract. You know, because a lot of people are putting hemp extract and there's no CBD in there.
Yes, like olive oil.
It's nothing. It's literally hemp oil, and they're selling it for $30-$40. I mean, go to Amazon.
That's expensive.
There's plenty of products on Amazon that are selling like that. You know, you got 30,000 milligrams for $20 on Amazon, whatever that means.
Yeah, right.
So you know, so those are the things that I think are extremely important that, you know, people just need to know. Go to their website. What are they talking about? Do they educate the consumer? You know, do they have more than just a product for sale? Are they trying to educate, you know, that person on what they feel they may need or what they might want? And then obviously, you know, just being able to reach somebody is always good. Because I've seen some of these companies that you could call them 100 times and they never get back to you.
Oh yeah, we've been there.
Yes, we have.
So those are just small little things that people should look for because there are good companies out there that are trying to do and are doing the right thing. And it's hard to separate from the bad ones. So it's always good to kind of educate that consumer on you know, this is what you should look for, and if it's not there, don't buy it.
Agreed. Thank you on that point. I would just have to say thank you again for being on our show and sharing everything. And we apologize. No, we actually don't apologize for, you know, surprising you with the fact that you had a part in our lives, that Green Rose was there.
You kind of did surprise the hell out of me, to be honest. I mean, my eyes got extremely watery, and I'm definitely...
we were expecting that. My wife's idea.
I definitely went through a little bit of hardship right there. I had to take a couple seconds off.
Yeah, but we, you know, that was our goal. So we're like going on this tour of really going out and reaching out and thanking people. So when you and I connected on LinkedIn and you said, yeah, sure. I'm like, he has no idea. Because we actually almost met at one of the trade shows. You were there and I asked for you and they said, oh, he had just left. I was like, oh God, I wanted to thank him personally, but I was like, all right, I'll eventually catch up to him. And lo and behold, here we are.
It's really amazing that you guys shared that with me. It really made my night, to be honest. It means a lot to know that, you know, and people ask, well, you know, you get tired of hearing it? Absolutely not. You know, it's so important to kind of hear because sometimes you kind of get lost in the fog. And it's kind of cool to hear because it really is important to hear those stories and share them. So I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for sharing that with me. And I look forward to having future conversations and watching you guys grow and watching that website and the interviews that you guys have. I think it's so important on what you guys are doing. And I think you guys will be touching a lot of lives in what you do. So, you know, kudos to you guys and to your family and to your son. So, you know, thank you guys for giving me the opportunity.
We do appreciate it. And definitely, if you see Ivy, tell her, thank you. We never forgot her.
I definitely will. I will make sure of that.
Yeah, we always talk about her. We always think about it, like, this young lady definitely was there. You know, she was like our cheerleader, making sure we were okay. And it's like amazing. We don't even get phone calls from our doctors. And it's like this young lady's checking in to say, did you guys get the order in?
Awesome.
Did you guys get it? Is everything okay? And it was awesome. So we really appreciate you and your team and what you guys are doing and what you guys have done for the families because it is huge. It is really huge.
Yeah, thanks, Green Roads.
Yeah, and we're hoping that a lot of other companies follow in your footsteps and that you guys have set the template to really just be like, you know, not to say forego, you know, being in the black, but sometimes, you know, when you give, you get, you know, get it back through.
I agree. I definitely agree.
Well, again, Arby, thank you again for your time. We appreciate you. Enjoy your beautiful weather.
I will. I definitely will. I'll send you a picture on LinkedIn.
Hopefully we'll make it down there.
On how our mornings look.
Yeah, right? You on the beach with a drink.
Oh boy, it's really tomorrow we have snow. But Arby, if they wanted to get in touch with you, got your website that you guys can if they want to look at your products or.
Yeah, I mean, thank you for asking that. Yeah, I mean, we're pretty easy to find. I mean, just go to greenroads.com. And you can kind of go through our CBD University, CBD 101, even a career page. We got things up there, and we have videos on our business and what we do and how we do it. And so we give a pretty good outline and back end to who we are. I really, love the fact our customer service have all been with us for over 2 years. So if you do see something online that you see at greenroads.com, feel free to call our customer service. They're extremely educated. And you could ask them any questions. And again, we're pretty much on hand and on deck about 12 hours out of the day. And if you don't reach us, we'll definitely get back to you if you leave a message. So thanks again. And if you want to reach out to me directly, just hit me up on LinkedIn at Arby Barroso.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you again.
All right, guys.
You have a good night.
Have a good night.
You too, guys. Have a great one.
You too. Thank you again. Bye-bye.